Part 37. Three Kingdoms, I Have a Job Transfer Palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 361. After the blow just now, Zhao Yun was secretly shocked. He did not expect that the opponent's power was so powerful. It was just as His Majesty said, the power of generals in this world cannot be underestimated. Wu Yunzhao never expected that so many powerful military generals would suddenly appear in this world. The teenage boy just now was already very good at suppressing Wu Tianzi, and the man in front of him was actually on par with him. After all, he and Wu Tianzi are ranked 5th and 6th in the world. Why are the two men on the other side so powerful? How come they have never heard of them before? However, in the eyes of military generals, as long as they are capable and strong in martial arts, they will win respect. So Wu Yunzhao raised his hands and said, I am Wu Yunzhao, the general under the command of the king of Chu. I wonder who this brother's name is. When Zhao Yun saw Wu Yunzhao reporting his family name, he also not hiding it, he said, former generals of the Shenlong Empire, Zhao Yun, Zhao Zilong. When Wu Yunzhao heard this, he was shocked and asked, but Zhao Yun, one of the 5 tiger generals under Lu Suand in the past. Zhao Yun listened. Wu Yunzhao frowned and said, Liu Bei is just a defeated general of our Dragon Kingdom, why mention him? Wu Yunzhao was confused after hearing Zhao Yun's words, but he didn't say more and just shouted softly, in that case, understand. Come on. After Wu Yunzhao finished speaking, he raised the bright silver snake spear and attacked Zhao Yun. Zhao Yun already knew that Wu Yunzhao was stronger than him after the previous tests from both sides. I am afraid that the only one in the Dragon Kingdom formation who could compete with him in strength, besides His Majesty Lu Feng, was Dian Wei. After knowing this, Zhao Yun did not join forces, but used the 100 birds Chao Huang spear technique. The fight between the two sides was more exciting than the battle between Ma Chao and Wu Tian because of their similar strength. Dian Wei and Huang Zhong, who were on the Yangzhou city wall, were shocked when they saw that Wu Yunzhao was so powerful that even Zhao Yun, a peerless general who ranked among the top 3 in the Shenlong Empire, could only draw with him. So Dian Wei asked, Your Majesty, you just said that Wu Yunzhao is only the 5th ranked general, but he is so powerful that he can tie with Zilong. Aren't the top 4 even more powerful? Lu Feng listened. Dian Wei said with a smile, Wu Yunzhao is indeed powerful, but his martial arts and endurance are not necessarily as strong as Zilong's, so as long as this battle drags on, Zilong will win. But although there are a total of 18 heroes in the Sui and Tang dynasties, but the difference between the rankings is huge. For example, the battle between the second and the first is like a small tree shaking a tree, no match at all. As for Wu Yunzhao and Wu Tianzi, they are both peerless generals, with the 4th fierce general Xiang Kuahe and the 7th fierce general Luo Cheng. And starting from the 8th place, they are far away from the peerless realm. As for the top 3, they are much stronger than the 4 to 7. The 3rd fierce general is called Pei Yuanqing. He is born with divine power, making it a pair of each heavy 300 kilograms of 8-edged plum blossom bright silver hammer. The 2nd place is the Tianbao general Yuan Chengdu of the Sui dynasty. He has a phoenix wing gold-plated hammer that weighs 400 kilograms. He is also a man who can carry a cauldron. These 2 people are definitely at the top of the peerless generals. They are only 1 step away from the Wuji generals, but they are even more powerful than the ordinary peerless generals. As for the first one, Li Yuanba, it is said that he is the reincarnation of the golden-winged rock, making a pair of all kinds of 400-pound drums, urns, and golden hammers, and both arms have the power of 4 elephants, which are born with divine power. _ To read the underlined version of the novel, please download Fei Lu Xiao. 3 Kingdoms, I Have a Job Transfer Palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 362. Dian Wei, Guoqia, Huang Zhong, and others were all shocked after hearing Lu Feng's introduction. They didn't expect these people, let alone the force, This power alone is definitely not within the reach of ordinary people. After Lu Feng finished speaking, Huang Zhong immediately asked, Your Majesty, so this Li Yuanba must have surpassed the peerless realm and become a Wuji general, right? Lu Feng nodded and said, Yes, this Li Yuanba is the only Wuji general in the world during the Sui and Tang dynasties, and he has probably reached the peak of the Wuji realm. After hearing this, Dian Wei couldn't help but sigh. So, if we meet that Li Yuanba, except for you, none of us will. You can't beat him. Lu Feng said with a smile, This is not necessarily true. As long as you practice diligently and become a Wuji warrior as soon as possible, even if you cannot defeat Li Yuanba, killing him is still relatively simple. Lu Feng's words Huang Zhong and Dian Wei were stunned, and then Dian Wei asked, What does your majesty mean by this? If you can't defeat him, how can you kill him? Seeing Dian Wei's confused face, Lu Feng explained, This Li Yuanba is indeed extremely strong and extremely skilled in martial arts. He is tireless and has no sense of pain. He is a martial arts genius rare in history. However, his brain is not very good. It can be said that apart from his high martial arts skills, he is basically a fool. Guojia suddenly realized what he said after hearing Lu Feng's words, and said with a smile, So that's it, it's really not easy to defeat a Wuji warrior who never tires, but if you want to kill a fool like him, it's just a little. It's about making a plan. After Dian Wei and Huang Zhong heard this, they also breathed a sigh of relief. Lu Ziyi smiled and said, That's right, just as Feng Xiao said. Lu Feng and others gave instructions to Zhang on the city wall. The fight between Zhao Yun and Wu Yunzhao under the city continued to climax. In the blink of an eye, the two of them had fought for 100 rounds, and they still couldn't win. The martial arts displayed by both sides, as well as the on-the-spot response, made the generals of all three parties excited to watch, especially Zhao Yun's shooting skills of hundreds of birds towards the phoenix, which made people mesmerized. However, the two of them were fighting fiercely, and Du Fuwei squinted his eyes and said coldly, I didn't expect that King Chu would have two such powerful generals under his command. It's really surprising. Lu Shiqian listened to Du Fuwei's words, with an expression of not taking it too seriously when watching the excitement, then continued, The King of Chu has hidden it well enough. I didn't expect that even Chief Du didn't know about it. After hearing Lu Shiqian's sarcasm, Li Zitong snorted coldly, and didn't speak. In fact, Li Zitong had taken refuge in Du Fuwei at the beginning, but later the two had a falling out because of some trivial matters, so Li Zitong left Du Fuwei and went to Hailing alone, and established himself as the King of Chu. The two brothers Wu Yunzhao and Wu Tiangzi only joined his service after he became the King of Chu, so Du Fuwei naturally didn't know. But having said that, if the two of them had been under Li Zitong from the beginning, then Li Zitong would not have left Du Fuwei alone. Maybe they had a falling out at that time, and Li Zitong ordered them to kill Du Fuwei. And now the reason why Li Zitong agreed to Lu Shiqian and Du Fuwei to form this tripartite coalition was because he wanted to use the forces of Du Fuwei and Lu Shiqian to capture Yangzhou and Wuxing. Filu reminds you, 3 things about reading, collecting and recommending. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. 3 Kingdoms, I Have a Job Transfer Palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 363. After defeating the Shenlong Empire, relying on Wu Yunzhao and Wu Tiangzi, it was not difficult to kill Lu Shiqian, Du Fuwei, and their rabble. By then, he would not only be able to dominate Yangzhou and Wuxing County, but he would also be able to take the opportunity to recruit all the soldiers and horses of Lu Shiqian and Du Fuwei under his command, becoming a powerful force. This is Li Zitong's plan. But he didn't expect that this dragon kingdom that suddenly appeared was so powerful. Although it didn't have many troops, it had powerful generals like Zhao Yun and Ma Chao, which disrupted all his plans. Originally, according to Li Zitong's plan, it shouldn't be difficult for the three parties to join forces to attack the Dragon Kingdom. Wu Yunzhao and Wu Tiangzi should not show their true strength in battle for the time being. After the Dragon Kingdom is destroyed, they will secretly raid Lu Shiqian and Du Fuwei. With the strength of these two people, Lu Shiqian and Du Fuwei could easily kill them without any precautions. But because Ma Chao was so powerful, Li Zitong had to send Wu Tiangzi to fight, and hiding Wu Yunzhao, who was more powerful, would not have much impact on the previous plan. But he never thought that Wu Tiangzi not only failed to defeat Ma Chao quickly, but was injured by Ma Chao's trick, and fell into a disadvantage in the battle between the two. In order to protect Wu Tiangzi, Li Zitong had to let Wu Yunzhao fight, but he didn't expect that Zhao Yun could block Wu Yunzhao's attack by himself, and as time went by, he was not at all behind. Li Zitong saw the two trump cards in his hand exposed, but still couldn't decide the outcome with the two generals from the Dragon Kingdom, and he suddenly felt unsure. You know, Wu Tiangzi, Wu Yunzhao Lo Shiqian, and Du Fuwei are fighting for Yangzhou and Wuxing County. If something goes wrong between the two of them, let alone fighting for Yangzhou, they may not even be able to save their lives. The more Li Zitong thought about it, the more frightened he became. In order to stop himself from spending too much, he said to Lu Shiqian and Du Fuwei, "You two, now the two generals of the Dragon Kingdom have been restrained by my men. Now is the time to send troops. It's an excellent opportunity to attack and kill. Why don't the three of us command the army to attack the city together and capture Yangzhou city first?" Li Zitong's words were agreed by Du Fuwei and Lu Shiqian, so the three of them waved their hands, and their subordinates, the 150,000 troops, rushed towards Yangzhou city. When Lu Feng saw that the other party had launched a strong attack, he turned around and said, "Han Sheng, Yirei, you two will stay with the Longbowmen and Dragon Warriors to defend the city. I will personally go meet the 150,000 troops." Lu Feng, after saying that, they led 3,000 red blood dragons out of the city. Huang Zhong and Dian Wei knew the importance of defending the city, and with Lu Feng's force, they didn't need to worry at all, so they watched Lu Feng leave the city. At this time, the Dragon City cavalry and White Horse Yi Kong outside the city had already launched a charge towards the 150,000 troops, and quickly broke up the enemy's formation with the help of their horses. However, there was still no commander in command, so the two cavalry seemed a little weak after the charge. So Lu Feng did not hesitate, rushed to Zhao Yun and Ma Chao, and said to them, "Leave these two people to me, you go and lead the cavalry to behead the enemy first." Zhao Yun and Ma Chao knew Lu Feng's power, and they dealt with Wu Yunzhao and Wu Tiangzi were not a problem at all, so they left the battle circle with a sigh. To read the ununderlined version of the novel, please download Fei Lu Xiao. Three Kingdoms, I Have a Job Transfer Palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 364. Wu Yunzhao and Zhao Yun were fighting in high spirits. Although they did not have the upper hand for the time being, because it was rare to encounter such a well-matched opponent, they did not want to let Zhao Yun leave. But he didn't know that although he and Zhao Yun were tied for the time being, Zhao Yun had not used all his strength, and he was far from using his ultimate move. From the beginning of the battle with Wu Yunzhao, Zhao Yun has always used the 100 Birds Chao Huang Spear. He did not use his unique skill, the 7 Detection Coiling Snake Spear. If Zhao Yun uses the 7 Exploration Snake Spear, he can immediately break the deadlock at this time, gain the upper hand instantly, and suppress Wu Yunzhao. However, Zhao Yun did not use the 7 Exploration Coiling Snake Spear, not because he was deliberately letting off steam, but because he was cautious in nature. He knew that Wu Yunzhao was so powerful that he was the strongest opponent he had ever encountered since his debut. It is precisely because of this that he did not use his ultimate move as soon as he came up. Instead, he first used other marksmanship to hold the opponent back. The opponent's weapon was heavy and would inevitably be exhausted before his own. When he was exhausted, he would use 7 explorations again. The coiling snake gun can kill with one hit. This is Zhao Yun's plan. As for the 7 detective snake spear, he is confident that as long as he uses it, the opponent will no longer be able to fight back. However, even though Zhao Yun and Wu Yunzhao were fighting in high spirits and had already planned to kill the enemy, he knew that this was not the time for him to fight bravely. This is not like the original world of the late Han dynasty. The Dragon Kingdom had unparalleled strength and could challenge others without any scruples. At this time, the Dragon Kingdom only had more than 20,000 soldiers and occupied Yangzhou and Wuxing County. It was currently being besieged by an enemy army of 150,000 troops. Therefore, it was necessary to obey the orders and obey the orders of the emperor in order to win. As for Ma Chao, he spent a lot of effort to gain an advantage in the fight with Wu Tianzi, and he was unwilling to stop there. However, Lu Feng was both his lord and master, so Ma Chao obeyed Lu Feng's orders almost instinctively. Therefore, when Lu Feng arrived and ordered Zhao Yun and Ma Chao to command the White Horse Yikong and Longcheng cavalry to resist the opponent's 150,000 troops, both of them fainted without any hesitation and jumped out of the battle circle. The opponent suddenly retreated, which made both Wu Yunzhao and Wu Tianzi very unhappy, especially Wu Tianzi. He was deceived by a 14-year-old child and suffered internal injuries and was suppressed all the time. This made him very angry and murderous. Heavy. However, when Lu Feng's black jade spear stopped in front of the two of them, they had to give up chasing Zhao Yun and Ma Chao and instead deal with the person in front of them who dared to stop the two of them by himself. But soon, Wu Yunzhao and Wu Tianzi realized that the man just called himself I, and Zhao Yun and Ma Chao were so respectful to him. Could it be that he was the emperor of the Dragon Kingdom? Thinking of this, the two of them glanced at each other, and then Wu Yunzhao took the lead and said, "Are you sure you want to fight against the two of us brothers with one person?" Lu Feng smiled contemptuously, and then said, "Yes, I can deal with you two alone." "That's enough." Now both Wu Yunzhao and Wu Tianzi heard Lu Feng's words clearly, and Wu Tianzi hurriedly asked, "Is your excellency the emperor of the Shenlong Empire, the master of the young man named Ma Chao just now?" Fei Lu reminds you, 3 things about studying. Collect and recommend. 3 Kingdoms, I have a job transfer palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 365. Lu Feng replied, "It's me. Why, Wu Tianzi, didn't you just say you wanted to compete with me to see if I'm qualified to be Meng Qi's master? Now I'm here, if you have any ability, just use it." After receiving Lu Feng's recognition, Wu Yunzhao and Wu Tianzi couldn't help but be overjoyed. If they could defeat and capture the Emperor of the Dragon Kingdom alive, it would be much easier to capture Yangzhou and Wuxing. And even if he is Ma Chao's master and can teach a disciple like Ma Chao, the Emperor of the Dragon Kingdom is obviously a powerful person, but he dares to resist the two of them by himself, which is too procrastinating. But since he was already standing in front of them, Wu Yunzhao and Wu Tianzi naturally had no reason not to take action, so without saying a word, they galloped towards Lu Feng. Although Wu Tianzi had just been injured by Ma Chao's tiger-headed golden spear, after so long, and as a peerless military commander, his own recovery ability has been relatively strong, and he is now able to use 80% of his strength. Wu Tianzi and Wu Yunzhao are cousins. They have practiced martial arts together since childhood, fed each other's moves, and know each other's martial arts routines very well, so they have developed a complete tacit understanding. This time, the two of them knew each other's thoughts with just a brief exchange of glances. When they rushed in front of Lu Feng, they hit Lu Feng from top to bottom with a silver snake spear that was 8 feet long and a hun tian dao. Wu Yunzhao's Zhangbaliang silver snake spear weighed 160 kilograms, and Wu Tianzi's Huntian Dao weighed 200 kilograms. Coupled with the strength of the two people and the kinetic energy of the horses running, if it was smashed solidly, I'm afraid Lu Feng's 10 lives are not enough. But when Lu Feng faced the killer of the two men, he stood still and did not dodge. When Wu Yunzhao and Wu Tianzi saw this, they both thought that the Dragon Emperor was just in name only and had been fooled by his brother and forgot to dodge. Li Zitong, who was watching the battle from the rear, knew Lu Feng's identity. He, Fu Wei and Lu Shiqian looked nervously at the battlefield here, thinking that the battle was about to end with death. However, just as the two men were about to hit Lu Feng on the head, Lu Feng suddenly raised the black jade spear in the midst of the lightning and flint, and the two men's weapons hit the black jade spear heavily at the same time. With a loud noise that shocked the entire audience, Lu Feng remained motionless, while Wu Yunzhao and Wu Tianzi took 6 or 7 steps back together with their horses. After standing still, both of them had incredible expressions on their faces at the same time. They did not expect that the king of the Dragon Kingdom was actually far more powerful than the two of them combined. At this time, Lu Feng looked at the two people with disbelief on their faces and said with a smile, "Now, it's my turn to take action." After Lu Feng said that, he immediately urged Mo Kailan to come to the two people in an instant, and then he swung his gun and swept horizontally at Wu Yunzhao. Wu Yunzhao couldn't avoid it, so he had to block with his spear, but he felt a huge force coming from him, and he was swept away and hit the ground heavily. Wu Yunzhao didn't dare to relax and hurriedly stood up, but felt his arms were numb and couldn't even lift them up. At this time, Lu Feng fired another shot at Wu Tianzi. Wu Tianzi also used Hunshan Tu to block, but Lu Feng knocked all the Hunshan Tu away. At the same time, his hand holding the Ti was burst open and bleeding. To read the ununderlined version of the novel, please download Fei Lu Xiao. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. 3 Kingdoms, I Have a Job Transfer Palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 366. However, Lu Feng did not stop and stabbed directly. Wu Tianzi couldn't avoid it, and the black jade spear went straight through his chest. Wu Tianzi was shot through the chest by Lu Feng, and then Lu Feng twisted the hand holding the gun hard, and the tip of the gun also rotated in Wu Tianzi's body. Immediately afterwards, Wu Tianzi felt a sharp pain in his chest, coughed hard, and coughed up a large mouthful of blood. At this time, Wu Yunzhao had just gotten up, but when he saw the scene in front of him, he suddenly felt a sharp pain in his heart and shouted out loud, "Tianzi, when?" Lu Feng heard Wu Yunzhao's cry, he raised a smile at the corner of his mouth, and then moved his hands with his hands. With some force, Wu Tianzi was picked up, and with a strong swing, Wu Tianzi was thrown right in front of Wu Yunzhao. At this time, Wu Tianzi's heart was stabbed to pieces by Lu Feng and twisted again. It had become a pair of pieces of meat. The remaining consciousness was about to collapse with this heavy fall. Upon seeing this, Wu Yunzhao hurriedly ran to Wu Tianzi, knelt on the ground and hugged Wu Tianzi's upper body, and said in a panic, "Tianzi, hold on, I will take you to the doctor right now." Wu Tianzi breathed his last. He grabbed Wu Yunzhao's hand and said to him, "Brother, run away quickly. We are not his opponent, a euro. After Wu Tianzi finished speaking, the hand that was tightly grasping Wu Yunzhao instantly dropped weakly, and the 6th hero in the world during the Sui and Tang dynasties died. When Wu Yunzhao saw his cousin's death, he was instantly grieved. He looked up to the sky and shouted, "Tianzi." After Wu Yunzhao finished shouting, he raised his eyes and looked at Lu Feng, who was looking at him from a distance. He was shocked and angry in his heart. It was this man who actually killed his cousin Wu Tianzi, and what surprised me was that his strength was so high. I remember that I once teamed up with Wu Tianqiahe and 3 others to fight against Yawendu. The 4th, 5th, and 6th best warriors in the world faced off against the 2nd best warrior in the world. Although in the end even the 3 of them were defeated miserably by Yuan Chengdu, the 3 of them fought with Yuan Chengdu for at least dozens of rounds, and he himself also fought against Yuan Chengdu for 10 rounds before losing. However, facing this Dragon Emperor who was supposed to be well dressed and well fed, he and Wu Tianzi could not even catch each other's moves. They were even swept away by one shot, and Wu Tianzi was killed by two moves. From this point of view, the emperor of the Shenlong Empire in front of him was actually much stronger than Tianbao General Yuan Chengdu. Thinking of this, Wu Yunzhao was shocked and angry and had many doubts. With this person's strength far more powerful than Yuan Chengdu, why had he never heard of Lu Feng's name before? And those Zhao Yun and Ma Chao just now, according to their strength, should at least be ranked among the top 10 warriors in the world, and Zhao Yun is tied with him, so he should obviously be among the top 5. But why were they able to hide their strength and even remain anonymous for so long before, but now they suddenly jumped out and occupied Yangzhou and Wuxing? Wu Yunzhao was puzzled, but Lu Feng obviously didn't want to delay any longer and immediately rushed over on horseback. When Wu Yunzhao saw this, he knew that he definitely couldn't run away, so he hurriedly raised the bright silver snake spear with his toes to fight. Lu Feng relied on Mo Kailan's fast speed and rushed to Wu Yunzhao's side in the blink of an eye. At this time, Wu Yunzhao already knew that his opponent was very powerful and highly skilled in martial arts, so he had already put away his contempt for him. Feeler reminds you, 3 things about reading, collecting and recommending. 3 Kingdoms, I Have a Job Transfer Palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 367. He carefully observed Lu Feng's movements and predicted his shooting skills, hoping to avoid disaster. At this time, he had no intention of defeating Lu Feng and only wanted to save his life. So Lu Feng stabbed him with a spear. Wu Yunzhao hurriedly dodged to the side to avoid Lu Feng's fatal blow, and then took advantage of Lu Feng's old moves and had no time to retract the spear, and suddenly stabbed his throat with the snake spear. However, Wu Yunzhao's move seemed to be in slow motion in Lu Feng's eyes. When Wu Yunzhao handed over the snake spear, Lu Feng just stretched out his arm and clamped Wu Yunzhao's snake spear under his ribs. Seeing this, Wu Yunzhao hurriedly moved backwards to pull out the snake spear, but he did not expect that the snake spear seemed to be connected with Lu Feng. No matter how hard he tried, he could not pull out the snake spear. Wu Yunzhao naturally knew that the opponent's power was far greater than his own. The best way at this time was to let go of the snake spear, otherwise he would probably be dragged over by the opponent. But not only had the snake spear followed him for many years, he was reluctant to let go of it, and once there was no weapon on the battlefield, it would definitely be more dangerous, so Wu Yunzhao grabbed the snake spear tightly with both hands and tried to pull it out with all his strength. However, Lu Feng suddenly exerted force at this time. He still held the snake spear under his arm with his arm, and then twisted his waist hard, using the snake spear as a lever to dig Wu Yunzhao into the sky. After his feet suddenly left the ground, Wu Yunzhao couldn't react in time and fell down heavily. At this time, Lu Feng no longer gave him a chance. He rushed over on horseback and instantly handed out the black jade spear. The tip of the spear pierced the soldier Yunzhao's throat, and then drew back. Wu Yunzhao subconsciously covered his neck with his hands, but he couldn't flow out. Moreover, the blood flowed more and more, and finally a lot of blood foam flowed from his mouth. At this point, Wu Yunzhao and Wu Tianzi, the 5th and 6th heroes in the world during the Sui and Tang dynasties, both died under Lu Feng's spears. However, the commanders of the 3 counties commanding the battle from behind had different expressions when they saw them. Du Fuwei originally thought that Wu Yunzhao and Wu 11 had already taken refuge with Li Zitong, but when Li Zitong was under his command at that time, he was afraid that these 2 powerful generals would be snatched away by him, so he kept hiding them. So seeing these 2 people dead at this time, Du Fuwei also felt a sense of relief. When Lu Shiqian saw how brave Wu Yunzhao and Wu Tianzi were at first, he was worried that even if he defeated Longguo, he would not be able to compete with Li Zitong for Yangzhou, so he breathed a sigh of relief when he saw these 2 people die in battle. However, Li Zitong on the side was already depressed because his 2 generals died in battle. When he saw the expressions of the 2 of them, he immediately said angrily, "My two generals died in 2 battles. Why are you so happy? Wu Yunzhao, you have also seen the strength of Wu Tiangzi and Wu Tiangzi. Even they are no match for the generals of the Dragon Kingdom. Now that they are dead, can you defeat these monsters of the Dragon Kingdom?" Du Fuwei snorted after hearing Li Zitong's words. Said, it's just that a few generals are a little stronger. They only have 20,000 people, and the cavalry outside the city is less than 10,000. What do we have to be afraid of when we have an army of 150,000? Du Fuwei finished speaking. Said to his soldiers, "Give me the order," the whole army attacks. Lu Shiqian on the side also ordered all his men to rush forward, and Li Zitong shouted to the archers behind him, "Fire arrows! Quickly shoot me an arrow and shoot the Emperor of the Dragon Kingdom to death." To read the underlined version of the novel, please download Fei Lu Xiao. 3 Kingdoms, I Have a Job Transfer Palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 368. After Li Zitong finished speaking, one of his generals said hesitantly, "Your Majesty, our army and the men and horses of Leader Du and Boss Lu are also in front, and we may accidentally injure them by firing arrows." Li Zitong was already in a very irritable mood. When he heard that his subordinates were openly refuting him, he immediately said angrily, "Who do you think you are? You even dare to question my orders?" After Li Zitong finished speaking, he didn't wait. The man replied, drew his sword directly, and chopped the general off his horse with one sword, and then said, "Who else has any objections? If you don't have any objections, just shoot me arrows." Li Zitong's soldiers saw Li Zitong. They had completely lost their minds and did not dare to say any more. They picked up their bows and arrows and shot at Lu Feng and the Dragon Kingdom cavalry commanded by Ma Chao and Zhao Yun in front. Following a burst of shooting from the archers under Li Zitong, a shower of arrows immediately appeared on the battlefield where the two armies were fighting. However, whether it was Lu Feng, Ma Chao, Zhao Yun, or the Red Blood Dragon Cavalry, Dragon City Iron Cavalry and White Horse Yi Kong under their command, they all calmly waved the spears in their hands and knocked away the arrows flying towards them. Especially Lu Feng, Zhao Yun, and Ma Chao, who were the strongest in martial arts, wielded their weapons so tightly that not a single arrow could break through their defenses. The Red Blood Dragon Riders, White Horse Yi Kong and Dragon City Iron Riders also used their spears to block the arrows. However, due to the force, some arrows would still slip through the defense and hit them. However, what shocked the three-party coalition was that even if the arrow hit the Dragon Kingdom's cavalry, it still could not penetrate their armor and was directly blocked outside the body. Compared with the soldiers of the Dragon Kingdom who were completely immune to the arrows, the coalition forces of the three forces including Lu Shiqian were unable to withstand the arrows at all. First of all, their armor itself was not strong enough and could not block the arrows. In addition, because it was their own people who fired the arrows, all the arrows came from behind them, and they were fighting the Dragon Kingdom army in front, so they couldn't see the arrows coming from behind, and they couldn't resist them. Therefore, when Li Zitong fired arrows, no one in the Dragon Kingdom's army was killed or even injured. Instead, countless soldiers and horses from the three-party coalition fell into the rain of arrows. Even the survivors were mostly injured, and their faces were full of shock and anger. They couldn't believe that it was not the enemy who took their lives, but their own people from behind. When Ma Chao saw this, he immediately shouted, "Have you seen it? Your lord has abandoned you. It was not our Dragon Kingdom soldiers who killed you, but your lord's order to shoot arrows." As Ma Chao's words shouting, the morale of the soldiers of the tripartite coalition, who were already doubtful, suddenly dropped to the bottom, and they were defeated by the rain of arrows and the impact of the Dragon Kingdom's cavalry. Among the three cavalry units of the Dragon Kingdom, the White Horse Yi Kong and the Red Blood Dragon Cavalry are equipped with bows and arrows, and they shoot at the enemy. The Dragon City Cavalry, as a heavy cavalry, is like a steel division in front of the enemy. continuously charging and killing. Different from the indiscriminate shooting of Li Zitong's archers, both the White Horse Yukon and the Red Blood Dragon riders had extremely high accuracy. All the arrows they shot hit the enemy, and none of them fell on one of their own people. At the same time, the Dragon City cavalry launched a charge using Ma Chao as an arrow. Feeler reminds you, 3 things about reading, collecting and recommending. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. 3 Kingdoms, I Have a Job Transfer Palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 369. Rushing back and forth among hundreds of thousands of enemy troops, the strong armor made it impossible for the enemies to break through their defenses, but they could easily penetrate the enemy's body. Li Zitong became angry when he saw that even a volley of thousands of arrows could not harm the enemy at all, but instead caused him to be seriously injured. Moreover, although the opponent's number is small, their combat effectiveness is extremely strong. They feel like they are in a deserted state among their own army of hundreds of thousands, but they also know that there is no need to continue this battle. In desperation, Li Zitong had no choice but to shout the whole army retreats. Du Fuwei and Lu Shiqian next to him saw that Li Zitong ignored his own soldiers and directly ordered to fire arrows, so they knew that he had lost 2 soldiers. General Yuan took his anger out on the 2 of them, so he was angry and wanted to withdraw his troops for a long time. At this time, seeing that Li Zitong was the first to order a retreat, he did not hesitate to order his subordinates to withdraw their troops. The soldiers of the 3-party coalition had long been demoralized by the rain of arrows from their own people and the repeated attacks by the enemy. When they heard that the general ordered his troops to retreat, they immediately dropped their weapons and ran away without caring about others. When Lu Feng saw the opponent retreating, he said to Zhao Yun and Ma Chao, they covet this Yangzhou city, so they come to attack us. If they can't defeat us, they can run away if they want. Do you think that our Dragon Kingdom army does not exist? Meng Qi, Zilong, everyone, the officers obeyed the order and followed me in pursuit. We must kill Li Zitong, Lu Shiqian, and Du Fuwei at all costs. After Lu Feng finished speaking, he rushed forward, followed closely by Zhao Yun and Ma Chao. The 3 cavalry groups behind them, the Red Blood Dragon cavalry in the middle, the White Horse Yikong and the Dragon City cavalry, chased Li Zitong and others together. Li Zitong and the other 3 kept looking back while escaping. Emperor Zheng Lufeng, with Ma Chao, Zhao Yun, and the 3 terrifying cavalry, chased after him and were immediately frightened to death. They thought that Wu Yunzhao and Wu Tiangzi were already the strongest generals in the world, and the only one who could defeat them was Tianbao General Yuan Chengdu. Unexpectedly, the Emperor of the Dragon Kingdom and his 2 generals, who suddenly appeared and captured Yangzhou and Wuxing with lightning speed, would be so powerful. It was remarkable that Zhao Yun and Ma Chao were able to stabilize their position in the one-on-one duel with the Wu brothers, and became more and more powerful as they fought, gradually gaining the upper hand. However, they did not expect that the Emperor of the Dragon Kingdom would be even more powerful. Even if Wu Yunzhao and Wu Tiangzi joined forces, he was able to disperse them with one move, and then killed both of them in 2 rounds. I'm afraid even Yuan Chengdu can't compare with such strength, right? Not only the 3 of them, the 3 Iron Cavalry of the Dragon Kingdom are even more powerful. With only 9,000 troops, they forced their own army of 150,000 to abandon their armor and flee. If this spreads, the 3 of them will, how can you have the dignity to hang out in Jiangnan? The 3 of them thought of this, and when they turned around and saw that the 3 killing gods were getting closer and closer, they were even more frightened. They beat their horses desperately, trying to escape quickly. However, whether it was Lu Feng's Mo Kailan, Zhao Yun's Beilongju, or Ma Chao's Li Faisha, they were all super war horses produced at the Goguryeo racecourse. They were extremely fast and could catch up with the 3 of them in less than a quarter of an hour. Then Lu Feng used 1,000 Jin Black Jade gun to kill Li Zitong, while Zhao Yun and Ma Chao also killed Du Fuwei and Lu Shiqian with one shot respectively. To read the ununderlined version of the novel, please download Fei Lu Xiao. Three Kingdoms, I Have a Job Transfer Palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 370. Dongyang bandit leader Lu Shiqian, Zhonghuai leader Du Fuwei and hailing Chu King Li Zitong were beheaded. Lu Feng shouted to the fleeing people, "Your lord is dead, surrender. If you don't kill me." After Lu Feng said this, Zhao Yun, Ma Chao and the 9,000 Dragon Kingdom cavalry also shouted loudly at the same time. After the Dragon City cavalry charge and the White Horse Yikong and Red Blood Dragon cavalry's shooting, the opponent's 150,000 army only had about 100,000 left. At this time, after hearing the shouts of the Dragon Kingdom soldiers, many people immediately kneel down on the ground and surrender. After final statistics, the Dragon Kingdom's army killed nearly 50,000 enemy troops in this battle, escaped more than 60,000 people, and captured 40,000 prisoners. Coupled with the previous defenders of Wuxing County and Yangzhou, the Dragon Kingdom now has a total of 100,000 troops in addition to the 23,000 soldiers and horses brought by Lu Feng. In the following days, Lu Feng followed Guojia's suggestion and sent Dian Wei and Huang Zhong each with an army of 50,000 prisoners to attack Dongyang and Liang, which expanded the territory of the Shenlong Empire in the Sui and Tang worlds again. At the same time, the news that the Shenlong Empire defeated the 150,000 strong army of Li Zitong, Du Fuwei and Lu Shiqian with only 9,000 cavalry quickly spread among the major forces in the world. Originally, Lu Shiqian and others responded to the edict of Emperor Yang of the Sui dynasty and formed a rebel army to attack the Shenlong Empire. Their original intention was to legitimately take over the rule of Yangzhou City and Wuxing County, so naturally they promoted it heavily before sending troops. Therefore, the battle between them has also attracted widespread attention from all the major forces in the world. After all, although Shenfaxing dispatched an army of 100,000 before, there was no strong general in their army, so it could not truly reflect the strength of the Dragon Kingdom. But Li Zitong and others were different. The three of them did not take the Sui dynasty seriously, so they naturally had some abilities. Their generals were stronger than Shenfaxing, so a large number of spies came from all sides. Inquire for information. Therefore, when they learned that not only the three-party coalition forces but also three coaches including Li Zitong were killed in front of the Dragon Kingdom, this achievement shocked everyone at the strength of the Dragon Kingdom. Especially Li Zitong's two peerless generals Huan Zhao and Wu Tianzi. Although not everyone knows their strength, everyone who has seen them knows that these two are the best generals in a million. However, the fifth and sixth warriors in the world all fell in this battle, and it was said that they were killed by Lu Feng, the emperor of the Shenlong Empire, in 2 moves. This was shocking. At the same time, the news soon reached the ears of Sui Tianbao General Yuan Chengdu. When he learned the news, Yuan Chengdu was discussing matters with his younger brother Yuan Chenglong. After the spies finished reporting, Yuan Chenglong said, "I didn't expect this emperor of the Dragon Kingdom to be so powerful." After hearing this, Yuan Chengdu said disdainfully, I once fought against Wu Yunzhao and Wu Tianzi. At that time, the two of them plus Xiong Kuahe, the three of them were no match for me. I defeated them in more than 30 rounds and ran away. If it was a one-on-one fight, I could easily hit them. Kill the two of them. However, the fact that the Emperor of the Dragon Kingdom can easily kill the two of them shows that his martial arts skills are similar to mine, and as an emperor, it is rare for him to have such martial arts skills. Yuan Chenglong listened to his brother's words. Instead, he smiled and said, "What a bullshit emperor, in my opinion he is vulnerable." Fei Lu reminds you, 3 things about reading, collect and recommend.